no question of me joining any other political party.
Can you tell us what actually happened in that phase of your life?
Eventually, started working for different companies as a tech guy, and then started my own company in 2012. When we started the company, I was still working. Obviously, you needed legal status to start a company.
You started somewhere in a garage?
No, I mean it's not that dramatic, but we started in our apartment. We didn't back then.
Very young and dynamic and very focused politician at this moment. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Darshan Puttannaiah.
We say, we'll introduce this scheme. That scheme doesn't solve any problem. Everybody that is dependent on the farmer is doing good, except for the farmer.
One of the national parties supported you, and you could have easily gone with them. But is that a conscious decision to have your own identity?
That is not even a thought that we've let cross my mind. And I think power may come and go, but I think.
Can we completely say that we are out of agrarian economy, the India?
We can never get out of it. Food security of our nation can only be saved by the farmers. Agriculture is the majority one that's actually feeding the people. I mean, even big, large-scale companies also, right? Where are they getting their raw materials from? A lot of people with 1 acre, 2 acre land have actually moved to the cities.
If you go and buy an Apple phone, you'll never ask. You pay 2 lakhs. But when you go and buy a 1 kilo rice, you'll ask, why 2 rupees extra?
We have to relook at everything. Farmer problems cannot be solved by one department or one scheme.
Without farming, India cannot live. On the other hand, without taking correcting measures, it won't sustain. But we have to struggle all along, and the same thing will continue forever, according to you.
We have to start looking at it in this sense. Nothing new. Like the second Google search I did was after my responsibility of understanding what the MLA's responsibilities are. Transform rural India is the word those are the words that I actually Googled.
Hi all, welcome to CWC again, and this time I would want to present one of the rarest guests. And in fact, he was a techie, and he moved out of India and he started his career in USA and built one of the finest tech company, Phoenix. And then I think circumstances brought back him to India, and now he's we call him as a Janapratinidhi from Karnataka. Very young and dynamic and very focused politician at this moment. I would like to introduce you to Mr. Darshan Puttannaiah. Darshan, welcome to CWC.
Thank you.
Wonderful to meet with you and have this conversation.
Likewise.
So, we all know your childhood and your youth is filled with activism. Especially, I think in Karnataka, we had one of the finest farmer activism movement in Karnataka. And your father was the main, force behind that, Mr. Puttannaiah. And what was the impact on you? Because you, almost up to your graduation, you were in Mysore, and you have been in your native, and almost you have confined yourself to within this farmer movement. And what was the impact of that on you in the beginning?
Yeah, I think I grew up. First of all, thank you. In this, I'm delighted to be here interviewing with you. But while growing up, obviously we grew up in the village as well as schooling. We went to Mysore college, up until college. The work that my father and everybody from Right Sangha did had a major impact in my upbringing and my outlook in life overall. The struggles were real. The farmer struggles, the issues at the villages were real. We saw it firsthand and experienced it firsthand. Because of that, I think I have a deeper respect for the farming community because we've seen, like I said, the struggles, and also for Right Sangha as a whole. The reason also is I've seen it from inside, the sacrifices that these people, activists, did all along their life. Right, so they've spent decades of their lives just in service of the farming community without expecting anything. They were not selfish; they were selfless in terms of their their work that they did all along their lives, and all they did was, I mean, I think we've seen a lot of those issues firsthand, like I said before, and that has impacted in terms of me wanting to get back into the community. I never thought I was going to get into politics, but I've always wanted to get into the activism side of it, regardless of whatever direction my career took. Eventually I really wanted to come back and be part of this activist group.
But in your case, you have completely drifted out. In fact, after your graduation, you moved out, and I think you went there as an employee. Then you built your career, and you started your own clinics, I think. Can you tell us what actually happened in that phase of your life?
Sure. No, I went for school there. College, after graduating here to do my master's, and that's how obviously the usual path that people in the engineering background take, right? To finish college, then get into
go to
job.
MS in US.
Yeah, just get a college
and
degree.
Get a job there.
Yeah, that's the way for us to kind of get our life going, right? So we followed that path, and eventually, started working for different companies as a tech guy, and then started my own company in 2012, and then exited out of that to a private equity firm. So the usual stuff, and then came back here, and then
that I know, but I want to know exactly how was that journey or the evolution.
Sure.
Yeah, because most of us doesn't know, because we struggle to get any information on you on the net now.
It's all available, but usually, after school, obviously I got a job, and then started working for, eventually, in the beginning, worked for a couple of different companies, and then for the longest time, I worked for a financial services company, building financial retirement specific products and on the tech side of it. So I understood the financial side of things as well while I was actually working there. I worked there for almost 9 years. And then eventually, when I was there is when I started thinking about starting my own company. There was a lot of struggle initially. When we started the company, I was still working. Obviously, you needed legal status to start a company. You just
started somewhere in a garage?
No, it's not that dramatic, but we started in our apartment. We didn't back then. And then the initial struggles, like every company goes through, I moved to, this is where the state I lived was in Colorado. So we didn't know anybody. So we had to build the network. So we had to go meet anybody and everybody, try to say, get to know people. And then eventually understood the market because I was in the ecosystem. And then started to look at what problems we could potentially solve. So started looking at that, and then started the company, and I did both. I worked for the company as a consultant for a while I was actually also try to stand up the company, because you needed income to sustain the family. And then once we were able to get to a certain stage, we said, okay, let's actually take a chance and do it. And then
typical Indian mindset.
So to be safe, right? I think. But while doing that, I took up a night shift job. So I used to work on the business in the morning, work at night as a tech guy at night shift. I some simple stuff, but those were some fun days, long days, but fun days. If I look back, a lot of lessons that I learned, and the hard work and hardship that we went through, and how we had to save each and every penny that is there to make sure we make ends meet. And because when I started the company, my daughter was born then, so I had to make sure my family was safe, and also make sure this was.
What was actually Economies?
So we started off, looking at building some products, and we initially failed quite a bit. we struggled to find that product market fit and all that. And then eventually, she said, okay, let's actually, from a sustainability perspective, let's see if we can get into services side of it, building product, more so focused on product engineering as well. Then we pivoted to doing a lot of work on just specifically on Google Cloud.
Google Cloud, yeah.
So that's the we held on to that and build. We were one of the ecosystem players there, working with their product teams. Plus, also we split our company into 50% of our revenue really is just focused on a lot of the services that we did and product side of it, the engineering side.
It's a balancing act you did in most of the cases.
So just from a sustainability perspective, we did what we knew. So back then, and it was a good run. We learned a lot through this journey.
So the thing is, we all know we all came from the rural background, and we always have that. Particularly, all of us have this activism mindset. What is the difference between the activism mindset and entrepreneurial mindset? Because it's completely opposite poles.
No, I think if you ask me, it's the same.
Okay, I want.
The reason I say that is you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to solve a problem there.
Yeah.
On the activism side of it, you're actually saying, okay, here's a problem, trying to bring that problem to the notice of the government, and people saying that, hey, this is a problem, we need to be addressed. We're raising our voices there, and we are not only just raising our voices, we are also telling them, hey, do this to solve this problem as well. So in the entrepreneurship side of it, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you're solving a problem.
Yeah,
or a couple
of course,
of
I agree that. But on the other hand, here in activism, we do it for people. It is completely selfless.
Yes.
Here it is completely selfish.
Yes.
I'm talking about that mindset.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, I think it's more. I've always enjoyed. I didn't know about this.
I'm not saying either right or wrong. It's not a question of right or wrong.
I mean, from a livelihood perspective, you just had to figure out a way to, make a living, right? So it's not just. I didn't venture out into entrepreneurship because I wanted more money. That was not a motivating factor.
And even you didn't had a legacy of entrepreneurial legacy.
Yeah,
you have an activism legacy.
Yeah. So it was more so like, hey, there some problems. We said, oh, yeah, we can do this better. Let us actually come up with a plan to do this better. And what was the plan? Looking at a company. So that's how it really started. And then money was started flowing in after the fact, right? So we started working. Money was not the motivator at all. It was like, hey, we wanted to make millions of dollars. No, that was not the motivator.
It was not an exit mentality.
Yeah, it was not, right? So when we started, that was not
to create some legacy, to create an impact.
Yeah, just that's the way that it all started. And then eventually, I think I don't think we would have exited if not for my political journey.
Yeah, I'll come back to that.
Yeah, so.
This is you never wanted to be a politician, but it happened. Naturally, you have been drawn into it.
Yeah.
Okay. And during that period, that was a very conscious move, or you thought, anyway, I have to go, I'll go. That's it.
Yeah. So my father passed away in 2018, and I was still running a business, and then I had no clue that I was actually just visiting my parents, and unfortunately I lost my dad. Then that is when obviously the people and the amount of people who actually came out to for my father's last rights. That's when I really said, okay, this. And he had told me that multiple times that you will not understand what I have done unless I die. So that actually came true, and that the amount of people, the respect people had for him, plus also people around here who said, hey, you need to jump into this, and that's when I really jumped in. I had no intentions. I never even dreamt of that. Neither had my father ever mentioned it to me. Say, hey, you need to get into this or act. So nothing of that sort. We never had that conversation.
It was naturally you have been drawn
Yeah,
into
so
it.
it was just like, the circumstances kind of drew me into this. Obviously, I lost the first time around, and I went back, continued to build the company, but I knew I had to come back the next time.
That was you knew that you wanted to come back.
Yeah, that was a plan, and I think if not initially, eventually it did become very clear. So that's when we said, okay, the company, I don't think I would want to run it. So that's when we exited in 2021. So I had to work for them for 2 years after that, and then that was the time period. The 2 year golden handcuff time period was exhausted, and then that's when I came back and started ran for the election.
Do you still have any connection with entrepreneurial world, or do you have any ventures in India now?
No, I mean, I don't have any, we've been wanting to start something, because it's always, you work there for decades, and you don't want to get out of it. And then we've started something small, just to tinker with things, try to figure out what, keep my technical aspect of it still intact, of my knowledge, and make sure I continue to be in touch with the ecosystem as well. So we've been working on it. Nothing substantial. We're just still tinkering with some of these problems we want to solve. But as you know, today's world, things are changing in a blink of an eye, and then we're trying to adapt as well. But nothing substantial that I have going on.
So first win you tasted in 2023, and now you're a full-time politician.
Yes. Yeah.
See, the difference, because the thing is, I have a little bit of experience in entrepreneurial world, because I dealt with people like you, and the mindset and the process-oriented goals and visions and missions there is completely different. But politics, how it's treating you now?
And I'm still learning a lot. I don't think I know everything yet. It's a journey that I've embarked on. There's mixed feelings always, like, hey, this is like getting frustrated. Like, why is the system like this? Why can't this be a lot better? Why cannot we use technology effectively to solve certain things? And these questions keep, and then not only that, like, this whole system itself, like, why is the system like this? Why can't we make it better? Why have we adopted what has been there for decades? Why can't we do some transformation in terms of processes and the way we look at, the way we have designed our governance structure or our people's economic structure itself? So these are some questions I just keep thinking about, and I think once we've understood these problems, we have been thinking about a lot of these solutions in terms of systemic reforms that we should be looking at. And I've put them in front of the government many times, in terms of, like, hey, I feel a lot of the things that we do have been just band-aids. Okay, you put a band-aid now, it'll stay for a while, it'll rip apart. And we are not, one thing that keeps me, worked up is, like, why can't we get to the root cause of any given issue and solve it at once? So it's always like there's a lot of unrest in my mind. Is like, why?
But Indian politics is keep this problem alive.
No, I think
isn't it?
Yeah, it's more, it's fair in terms of your assumption, but I think there are, after me getting into the system, I've seen things in the system as well. There's some incremental changes that have been happening. No doubt. But at the same time, I do feel that there has to be a bold very focused and concerted effort to make some of these transformational changes. These small scheme, introduction of a small scheme, or some small change, or some loan waiver here and there, without a systemic reform, is not going to help anybody. So I think we just have to take a couple of steps back and say, oh, if we have to build our governance structure today with keeping decentralization and making sure none of the people should be able to run their own lives, and they should not be dependent on the state. How do you design a system like that? So those are things that we should be
always
looking at.
Haunt you day and
Yeah,
night.
yeah. So that's we've been thinking about all these kind of things, is like, use first principles to think about solving any given problem, like, farmers' problem. We say, farmers are the backbone, but I don't think we are doing any justice in terms of our reforms and the systemic reforms that we have thought about. We say, we'll introduce this scheme. That scheme doesn't solve any problem. Everybody that is dependent on the farmer is doing good, except for the farmer, the entire value chain. So that equation or that statement doesn't sit well with me.
I think we are standing on a crossroads in case of India. Before moving ahead, I want to ask one simple question with you. In fact, one of the national parties supported you.
Yep.
And you could have easily gone with them. But is that a conscious decision to have your own identity?
Yeah, definitely.
Or you want to go with one of the main political party of India? Because they have always had a soft corner about you and your father and entire agrarian movement, what we are having in Karnataka or anywhere in India now. Is that a conscious decision of yours? So Sarvodaya will be my party and I stick to it.
Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about it. There is no question of me joining any other national or state or any other political party. That is not even a thought that we've let cross my mind. The reason is, I think this is something that my father started along with other tall leaders, and the agrarian movement has a lot of connections into this. And I think power may come and go, but I think sticking to our roots and the ideology is very important. I don't think I'm in politics just for power. I think I'm in it to see what changes that we can actually bring about to the people, and no, that's not even a thing that we will consider.
Yeah. Then let's move back to the crossroads. India standing in the crossroads. See, we may talk about software. We are Silicon Valley. We have now data centers. We are going to have now. We are going to have a lot of other things. But can we completely say that we are out of agrarian economy, the India? Do you think so?
No, I don't think so. Right? I think we can never get out of it.
Okay.
Because food security of our nation can only be saved by the farmers. I think we still a majority of our
in the early periods of our independence days, we struggled for it and we achieved something. Now we are neglecting it.
Yeah, so I mean that whole green revolution really started after independence, and that's how we were able to become a nation where we didn't have to depend on other nations for food. Food security is also, I mean, in the larger scheme of things, food security is also one of the key things. That
the number of population we have, we need food, basically.
We need to grow food for our people. So that is an important thing. And then we still look at it, majority of our economy, not from a numbers perspective, but a number of people who are actually dependent on
that particular sector.
Agriculture is the majority one that's actually feeding the people.
And it's one of the biggest employment
creators, right?
Yeah.
So small scale industries are still running. I mean, even large scale companies also, right? Where are they getting their raw materials from? Mother Nature. One person that is close to Mother Nature is the farmer. The second way they can get natural materials is from mining. So those are the only two ways that any organization, any company, anybody who wants to run a business or this somehow, somewhere dependent on these natural resources. And you run a software company, the software company is doing something for somebody to solve a problem that is actually helping with the supply chain or any of the food pieces or any businesses for that matter, right? Any kind of business you look at, they are dependent on Mother Earth, and so that is an important. I mean, if you look at it like in that sense, it's very hard for us as a country to get out of farming. In fact, sometimes I get alarmed in terms of how many people are actually migrating to the cities.
Agrarian activities to the non-agrarian activities, or farming to non-farming activities.
And locally as well, and then also people moving to the cities. I don't think that is, like, I'm curious to know, this is something that we've been thinking about, is like, okay, green revolution, how much, what was the acreage that we had in our country where we used to go grow food, and obviously the yield also matters. Now with all the expansions, how much of land have we consumed? Has the yield increased to really support the population that we have grown back from 1947 to what we are today? So what is that, what is that delta? And if we plot a graph, when are we going back to the issue that we faced back in 1947, the shortage of food? I'm curious to know with the rapid expansion that is happening.
Because I have been extensively traveled in Maharashtra, especially Vidarbha and Marathwada region. I have seen the status of farming and agrarian sector. And even in Karnataka, if you move around, even take Mandya itself, I strongly feel that with the increase of, movement to the cities, and also I think the farming overall capacity of the land has been reduced now. Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously reduced. I mean, look how Bangalore has expanded. All the cities have expanded. You may take any Hubli, Dharwad, Mysore, Mangalore. Everybody is actually the expansion is happening into farmlands, and then so obviously a lot of the people from the farm are moving to the cities. Either if they get educated, obviously they get into these good jobs, or other people that are moving to the cities are people who are providing support services for the people who are working in the tech side services in Bangalore.
Yeah, we're creating a gig community.
The gig economy, what you're thinking, be it delivery boys to women to maids to everybody. All these, we are moving people to help support the
creamy
layer, and that whole support system is being built by the people from the villages.
And again, that particular layer, it is not, it is not a formal employment generating sector. It is a highly informal and unorganized sector we are creating. Yeah. Huge chunk of the employment is created in an unorganized sector, not on an organized sector, to support the so-called upper layer of this society. So that's the one thing. And another thing is, what is the solution for this? Because we cannot completely disconnect or move away from the agrarian economy. On the other hand, we have to sustain and we have to withhold the landholding pattern, and what is the solution? Because now you have seen both process-oriented corporate world and highly unprocessed. Because even though we are saying farmers are the backbone of this country, now also we say that, but at the end we are doing nothing for them.
Yeah.
And even for that sector also, what do you think may be an ideal solution for that?
I mean, there are many solutions that we can think about. One thing is, we have to really first think about making farming sustainable, in terms of economically sustainable, and making sure the farmer is actually getting the right prices for the crops that he or she is growing, for the effort that they are actually putting on in the villages, right? So if it's economically viable and sustainable, people are going to choose this versus going and working in being a gig worker. A lot of people with 1 acre, 2 acre land have actually moved to the cities where they can make a good living here. So for the government to really look at all these things, they have to think about systemic reform. They have to think about, okay, farmer, how does the farming insurance work? How does the market access work? How does natural calamities and how do you trigger these insurances based on what trends? Like, right now, the way the insurance works is if somebody, they select a whole block, if that whole block is affected, then with any rainwater damage or severe weather conditions, they get compensated very minimal. The amount they get is very minimal. What we have to think about is, we did not get enough rain this year. If we have to set some threshold in terms of what that rainfall should be, and if it goes down that threshold, automatically everybody in that district should get the insurance. Or if the heat is too much, right? So there's some triggers that we have to think about and redesign the whole system itself in terms of how they get paid, how they get market access, how they participate in the entire value chain.
Yes.
Right. So they get about 27 to 26% of the actual money that any consumer pays to buy any product. So the entire 73+% goes in
to
the
middleman and the system.
Everybody, right? So the whole system. So how do they get access and participate?
Don't you think that we have to reform that, actually?
Exactly, yeah. So we have to think about it.
If you go and buy an Apple phone, you will never ask.
Yeah.
You pay 2 lakhs. But when you go and buy a 1 kilo rice, you'll ask, why 2 rupees extra? Don't you think that mindset has to be changed, and the system has to give them a good pricing also?
Yeah, so I think we've always talked about, we've heard in the news and everybody discussing about middlemen should be taken away and all that, right? Like that, yeah, definitely. But we have to relook at everything, every aspect of
the whole system.
Whole system itself, we have to relook at it, right? Farmer problems cannot be solved by one department or one scheme. Agriculture, like if you think about a farmer, in everybody's head, it is. I asked the same question with a bunch of farmers, like, what is it? Like, who is responsible for solving the farmer problems? Some people say it's the revenue department. Some people say, majority of them said agriculture department, and some said water, irrigation department.
Irrigation and forest. So 20 departments.
Yeah. So if you look at solving a problem of the farmer, there is revenue, there is RDPR, the Panchayat Raj system, agriculture, horticulture, sericulture, animal husbandry, fisheries, forest, minor irrigation, major irrigation, APMC. All of these people have to sit.
In fact, all the departments are managing the agrarian sector.
Exactly.
But no one is ready to take the responsibility.
Yeah, and I don't think we even sat down in a room to say, hey, let's actually all collectively solve farmers' problems. And then what can each department go back and do such that this vision is accomplished of making sure the farming is sustainable and economically viable, and making sure everything, that all the processes, all their schemes, all the work that they do is connected back to that vision. Right. So that is something that we'll have to look at. All the policies that we have need to be revamped so that that vision can be accomplished. I know it's a tall ask, but I think unless and until we look at it in that sense, in my mind, I don't think we can really do justice to the problem we're all trying to solve. It's not one scheme. It's not one thing that we announce and that is not going to solve the problem. That's my just based on my last 3 years of being deep in the system, understanding, and also trying to understand the problems that the farmers are actually facing.
So what you're saying is, if you don't solve the farmers' issues, or agrarian, if you don't correct the agrarian sector, and India will be the same, because without farming, India cannot live. On the other hand, without taking correcting measures, it won't sustain.
Yeah.
But we have to struggle all along, and the same thing will continue forever, according to you.
Yeah, see, we have to make farming sustainable. We have to decentralize as much as we can, so that we have small scale industries at the village level, at the panchayat level, that create jobs. Byproducts are actually being done at the source of where the produce is actually happening. So if you start, we have to start looking at it in this sense. Nothing new. This is all something that Gandhiji,
all those things were existed, but now we have moved out of it.
Right? So how do you, only then our villages will flourish. If there is jobs created, there is money that flows, the economy.
I think you are trying something on that end. No, day before yesterday or 2 days back, with Selco Foundation and Puttannaiah Foundation, you guys came up with a micro entrepreneurship something.
Yeah, there are a couple of initiatives that we are running a lot of pilots on. In terms of really looking at how does rural circular economy look like? So what can we do with that? How can we use existing institutions that are available, plus that people inherently trust those institutions, and how do we revamp our economic model at the rural level so that the money stays in the village as much as possible, and it doesn't leave the village. And
it rotates
right. So you buy what I grow, you buy, then I buy what you grow. So how do you create systems locally that we're all connected, and then how do you map supply demand locally at the panchayat level, at the village level, how much of what we consume, based on that, how much of what we consume are we growing locally? How do you map that, right? So we've been going around and doing this kind of exercise to map out our consumption level, so that way we know what our demand is, and then we also know what our supply is, and then we are advising the farmers to grow based on the demand. So it is locally sourced and locally grown and locally consumed, and before the surplus leaves the village or the panchayat. So that's something that we're doing, and then these micro entrepreneurs are being created to make sure these byproducts are actually being manufactured locally as well. And so like I said before, the byproducts at the source itself, where we are giving them, these are some small machines that we are trying to give for people to manufacture at their homes, and a little bit more scaled units are also being put in, a jaggery unit that we recently put in. They can create byproducts with sugarcane, and they only manufacture about 120-130 kilos a day of jaggery. So we're setting up these small units.
There are proven models across India. If you go to Marathwada, there are proven models. For what you say, small landowners, holders. There is a proven models in Marathwada. It's available, but the only thing is we are not recognizing it and not replicating it and taking it as a model. That is a problem with India. I feel so. And let's come to active politics.
Sure.
How is it now?
Yeah, I think.
Is it become more sensible now, or still we are in the same level? But when we feel, as a journalist and as a common man, people like you entering into the politics, and there are I can give another 10-15 examples. If you take 234 member of Legislative Assembly, I can say at least 34 are like you in Karnataka. We are lucky to have them. And how you guys are facing those 200 other people?
Yeah, I feel I mean, I'll take a step back and answer the question a different way, so I don't get into trouble. But the way I look at it is, I mean, this is something that is I did after getting elected, is when I Googled what are the responsibilities of an MLA.
Okay, interesting.
Right. So usually you get a job after. I mean, before you go to a job interview,
You Google it.
know, Google. But I Googled it after. Unfortunately, the system that we have today, I don't do anything that is actually in my job responsibilities. Unfortunately, I don't do anything.
Okay.
I haven't. See, I'm supposed to be working on mainly creating legislation. I don't think we do that. So we don't discuss about problems where we need to overhaul some legislation. So it actually is affecting a certain sector of people or certain region of people. What can we look at? How can we look at forming a new legislation to solve any given problem that we as a state are facing? Those are the discussions, and those are that should have been our focus. Unfortunately, we are not. So that has been the challenge for me to accept, in terms of like, hey, okay, how can I continue to be in this and still be sane in my mind, and then continue to stay quiet instead of really pushing forward to make these changes. We know there is problems. We know there is solutions. For those solutions to be implemented, we need systemic changes. For those systemic changes, these legislations, like these things need to be put in place and changed and things like that. So I'm not happy with the way things are going, but I do think there is changes that need to happen.
At least, are you happy about your own constituency, what you are doing?
I think,
because in your case, you're in a very nascent stage now, as a politician.
But I mean, yes, I'm happy with the efforts that we are putting in
and the small changes which is happening.
But it's still a long way to go, honestly.
Yeah, it is always a long way.
And I don't think I mean, the test that people think about is like, how many roads did we construct? How many buildings did we construct? No, that should not be even in a consideration. That is people's money that the government gave us, and we actually worked on it to, install roads or drains or buildings. That should not be, we should not be even measured how many based on that.
Unfortunate thing is, many MLAs.
I mean, I'm guilty of that as well. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm guilty of that as well, as saying, hey, I did this road. I publicized that as well. I am guilty as well, because that's the way our system works.
Yeah, because
and then people,
the whole world is like that.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I mean, like I said, I'm guilty. I'm at fault. Even though I'm saying this, I'm still doing it. Why? Like, why am I doing this? I think the people who support me are also in there and like, hey, why are you not doing this? Like, why can't you say these things, right? Yeah. But unfortunately, we need to change that. We need to change that and say that this is your money. We are doing the work, that the money that you gave as taxes to the government, and it is not money that I brought it from somewhere else. I'm supposed to be working on solving some of these problems. That is where I'll be happy. So to answer your question, whether I'm happy with the work I'm doing, I don't think so. I have still a long way to make sure I continue to do certain things that I can answer, look into your eyes and say, yes, I'm happy.
And we can accept you are still, I told you, very nascent stage. Another 27 years you have to put yourself into it. And see, the thing is, we always correlate the Indian politics into corruption.
Yeah. I do agree.
As a people representative, what's your thoughts on it? Because how can see, we cannot completely reduce it. We are reached. It has become very normal in Indian political system now. How do you think at it, and how do you want to change it?
See, I mean, that has been there for the longest time, but you might think I'm crazy, but I do feel there is after getting into the system, now I know how things work, if not 100%, but I know to a certain extent how things work. I do feel if there's a concerted, collective effort that we can put in, we can stop all these things. Right? So,
do you think as long as we distribute money to get a vote, is it possible to stop it?
No, I mean, because
the root of Indian political corruption is distributing money in the election.
Yeah, so it has to start somewhere. Somebody somewhere has to start this, and that whole movement needs to happen. Like we've all gotten used to, the system is like, you go to get a driver's license, 1,300, 1,400 rupees fees. We've already asked our parents to give us another 1,000 rupees for bribe. The parents said, "Oh, take this bribe, get it fast, come back home." Right? So we've also
gotten used to the people also. It is
everybody, right? So this is not okay. The system itself, right? The system involves people. And system within
system itself is
people in the system, right? So their system is basically
people are system right? Only.
So everybody needs to collect. How do you change this, right? Like there are definitely a lot of people have, I've read a lot of theories about how things need to change, but I do feel that we can bring that change about, if not 100% to begin with, some percentages. I feel technology can solve and help go, further. Everything is getting digitized. Your money is getting digitized. Every paisa you spend is being tracked. So where is the money coming from? So obviously, if that increases in the next couple of years, maybe 5, 10, 20 years, we'll be able to get there. So once you're that whole system, it's like when I say system, the money transaction system is being digitized. There's no actual cash that actually can flow outside of it. I mean, that itself is a big change that we can expect to change some things on the corruption side.
So you're still you are in from last 3 years only actively, and I don't think you have any regrets about it.
No regrets.
It is very conscious and very firm and focused. You have a vision about your career as a politician, and also you have a vision about your own constituency also.
Yeah, definitely I have that, and I mean I don't have any regrets, but I have sometimes frustrations here and there
creep in.
Just so if some things doesn't work, taking too long to get things done. Those things, as part and parcel of what I signed up for, and I'm dealing with that, and I'm trying to learn, trying to figure out how to deal with those situations as I grow as a politician. Definitely, I have a lot of thoughts in terms of the work that I want to do and the way that I want to build in terms of our constituency or the larger vision itself. So based on that, we have I've already submitted a lot of bills to the government in terms of how governance need to be re-architected, how the farmer ecosystem needs to be re-architected, based on the tests that we are doing in our constituency, and then making if it works, okay, how do you build legislation around it? So
you want to create a model in Melukote.
I mean, we're trying. I mean, that's the
you're trying for
goal, and
that can be replicated at least in agrarian sector.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I mean, economics is like anything that we are trying to do comes down to economics. You're helping the farmer save money or make more money, or make sure the livelihood is actually getting better, introducing new ways of livelihood. Everything comes back to, at the end of the day, economics.
Economy.
And then the second piece is the infrastructure. So those are two things that I get, no matter what I am focused on, what we are working on, it always comes back to one of those two things. Infrastructure, obviously, then the social justice aspect of it is a third pillar that we look at it. So that's like, we are definitely thinking about it holistically. Like, how do you help the entire community grow on all these three aspects, and a couple more things as well, but primarily these three: and economics, infrastructure, social side of things.
Looking at you and your journey from it's a titanic shift from a very comfortable zone to a very uncomfortable zone. If I look
Sure.
as an outsider, and but you had your own goal and vision, you wanted to come back and give it back to the society. Do you advocate youngsters like you
Sure.
should come back to politics and strengthen the democratic values of this nation?
I think it is very much needed, and for people from different walks of life who have seen things, done things, to get into active politics and contribute. I know, like, sometimes even when you just said a couple of minutes ago, you're a politician, I'm like, oh, so I think me being in politics, I still have that bad taste when you say I'm a politician, because
Nowadays, people,
because
when we hear journalists, also we feel that.
Yeah. So that's why that is there. But I think who's responsible for changing it, right? So everybody. So let us. I do feel youngsters, people from different walks of life, have to come in. Try to. It is hard. There's a lot of hard work, and the bar to even get in is also tall. But at the same time, it is not impossible. And
it's a very challenging word, but you can make a difference.
Yeah, so I think you can, there is dirty work that happens as well, but there's, at the end of the day, as long as your conscious is clear that, hey, this is something that we are doing, so that the eventual goal is to make sure we do fix the system, make things right, and if you have a mindset of problem solving, making sure you're curious about process re-engineering, and if you're curious about solving a problem based on the root cause of what it's actually solved, it has to be from a root cause perspective. You're looking at problems. These are, I think, you will find hundreds of thousands of these problems in the system that you can actually work on. So I do encourage a lot of youngsters to, even though it is hard, please to come in and jump in. It is, no matter what your belief system is, no matter where you come from, I think we need more people to jump in.
So I was surprised, a young politician, and he was looking for an IP expert in Pune. Why he is? What is the story behind it?
So no, I think I went and met our common friend, Mr. Arvind. I flew down to Pune to see, because again, trying to learn from him. Like, he did a lot of work with Mr. Deshpande in his foundation. How did they look at the problems that they were trying to solve? We wanted to learn from him. So that was the reason.
So you'll go to any extent to learn and contribute to your society.
Definitely. I mean, I'm still very young in terms of my knowledge of the entire system, and also the problems I am seeing only from what I'm experiencing in a day-to-day life. and what people are experiencing from the conversation that I am seeing, and at the villages where I go visit and see what those issues are and how that is affecting their lives on a daily basis. I am still learning. There's a lot to learn, and I don't know everything. And for me to learn, I'm happy to talk and go to any extent. If it's a young kid, I'm happy to learn from somebody who's actually done work elsewhere in the world. I'm happy to learn from them. So, I mean, initially that has been the pattern that we followed. Is I reached out to everybody. Like the second Google search I did was after my responsibility of understanding what the MLA's responsibilities are. Transform rural India is the word I mean, those are the words that I actually Googled. So I actually found an organization that actually is based in New Delhi, who does work in the rural space. So I reached out to them and I spoke to them. And similarly, a lot of these people who have already been working at the ground level, Mr. Arvind also is the same reason. I reached out to a lot of non-profit organizations of the problems that they were, health side of
Health,
things,
education, and
so there's a lot of, like I said, from the community, I'm happy to learn, and I am learning from the person who lives next door to us as well, of how they'll make a living, how how government schemes are being used, are the government schemes being completely used or not, so how effectively it's actually changing their lives on a daily basis. So there's a lot of learning happening on a daily basis anywhere we go.
So I really appreciate your courage to come back and contribute to your own society and your own people. It's a great step you have taken in your life. Wish you all the good luck.
Sure.
I told you another 27 years you have to be here, and hopefully we all will be you.
Yeah.
And good luck for you, and thank you for your time.
Sure.
I know even though you have a busy schedule, you give us a time, and
Sure.
we had I think we had a very sensible conversation. It may help both of us.
Absolutely.
And we can learn from each other and grow together and contribute a little bit to this society as a one human being.
Sure.
So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Darshan. It's a pleasure talking to
Pleasure
you.
talking to you as well. Thank
And
you.
this is Darshan Puttannaiah, and let us wish him good luck for all his dreams and all his contribution to the society come true. And Darshan, see you again.
Sure.
Hopefully again and again.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. See you again. Thank you.
Thank you.